Okay, we managed to go live. There was, let me just see this thing. Okay, let's stay with this. There's some problem with the other. I tried going live with another one. I hope that's not still uploading. Anyway, I don't know who's here, if anyone's going to come today, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. Um, I'm going to wait a minute. Ah, somebody's here. How nice. Great. Who's here? And I don't know if you can hear me. That's another thing. I'm going to try. Oh, they left. I'm going to try something. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, let me just check something. Okay, we'll try plan B. Necessity is, hey, Tara, necessity is the mother of invention, right? You probably know that, Tara. Hey, Tara. Can you hear me at all? I'm just going to, I lost the clip on my mic. So let's try to, I'm trying to compete with you farm people to come up with innovative ways to solve technological issues that appear. Okay. Can you hear me, Tara? Okay, good, great. Okay, let me know if there's any problems with the sound. Okay, so I want to. I don't know if you saw my video this morning, but there's a lot going on as always, both both inside and outside. I'm really liking this idea that we are multidimensional, and I'm kind of getting like a clue as to what that means from Alex Collins video that we can think about many things at the same time, and they're all kind of active. How's it going, Tara? Quick, you're right, I'm sure. Eating acorn flour. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's getting interesting. Life is getting very interesting. Interesting. Wow. Kerosene. Yeah. Crick pothole heaters. Crick pot heaters. Uh-huh. How do you heat your chicken coop? I'm assuming you have chickens, but maybe you don't. I don't know. Do you heat them with a light bulb? Hey, yeah, I know it's not easy. Thanks, Devorah. You found us. Yeah, it's only 2 weeks we have to deal with this, hopefully, and eventually Rumble will be back in. Yeah, the intensity is definitely ramping up. Yeah, 100%. I think it's coming to some kind of like grand finale type thing. Ugh is right. The winters are mild, right? Right. It's not so bad down there. Yeah. Arkansas, Missouri. I'm okay. I'm drawing a blank. I think it's to me they're kind of the same, but they're not. I know they're not really. Okay, well, let's get right into this. I want to get into the Torah portion because it's monumental, really, and it's like I think we can draw a lot of conclusions from the Torah portion into like what's going on pretty much in the world. And this, again, this is Vayechi. This is the last chapter in Bereshis, the last chapter in the first book, and today is Wednesday. Sorry about the rattling in the background. World headquarters of Walmart, Arkansas. Right. Yeah, because that could be a good thing, and it could be. Do you know all about Walmart and the tunnels and the human trafficking? I mean, do you see any signs of that in Arkansas? Do you see? Like I've seen reports of like Walmarts that are fenced off and closed, and army Jeeps are parked there and all kinds of weird stuff, but maybe not. Yeah. Tara, what did you mean by things are intensifying? Because I definitely feel a lot more incoming, stuff coming around. Do you guys get chemtrails where you live? I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can say that on YouTube, but I think I can. Anyway, so Vayechi is about the burial, really, the end, and the blessings. Really, not the burial, but about the end, or actually the beginning of Jacob, really. And it says in Gemara, Yaakov lo meis, that Jacob didn't die. Yeah, I've also been feeling on edge, Tara. I don't know what's going on. I mean, things are heating up for sure. I was with the normies on the subway yesterday, and they were all like, they're all freaked out. I mean, they know something. Everyone senses it. You get the chemtrails too. I who's behind this? Who, it's like, who do you call? Who do you call? Call your local reptile. Call, go underground Walmart. Go to Walmart and go underground about a mile down, and you could talk to the people there and say, really getting a little tired of the trails in the air. But the whole key to this is that Jacob didn't die. That's what it says in Gomorrah. Jacob doesn't die, and it's really about the children. It's all about the kids. And in today's Portia, he is giving individual brachas, individual blessings to each of his sons. And he wanted to tell them the date of the redemption, but God took it out of his mind. Alaska wins, yeah. Yeah, they're yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's so strange. Who does that? Why aren't they just knocked out of the sky? Because it's happening all over the world. My friend said and it happens in Israel. It happens for sure in Crown Heights where I live. I just got a friend of mine sent me a picture from New Jersey. They're seeing it there. I mean, the good news is that we recognize it and we see it and we know something's up. Devorah, you're getting any of these signs in the sky? And then you get the checkerboard cloud patterns, which are totally not natural. But anyway, so Jacob blesses his sons. And he tries to remember the time, God, he knows the time of redemption, but he's not able to recall it. And let's see what the Rebbe says about that. Jacob foresaw the final redemption would only occur thousands of years in the future, delayed by the misdeeds of the intervening generations. He thought that if he would tell his sons about this, it would encourage them to urge their progeny to refrain from misbehavior and augment their performance of good and positive deeds in order to hasten the redemption. After all, Jacob had seen firsthand how a negative decree could be shortened when he ended the foreordained 7 years of famine after only 2 years. He was not worried that his sons would become disheartened upon hearing that the redemption was 1,000 years off, 2,000, 3,000 years off. He knew them to be righteous and strong of character, and therefore confident that they would use their knowledge constructively and keep it to themselves in case their progeny would not be able to cope with it. Jacob therefore then called for his other sons and said, "Assemble yourselves, and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of days," in the summer. Yeah. So he withdrew it from them. Okay, so now he's going to tell them what's going to happen in the future, which is now. So, and what he does is he goes through each of the sons, and this is really pretty amazing. Right, they tried to freeze you guys last winter.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Okay, so he says, "Gather together and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel, and I will tell you about future events that will befall your progeny. Reuven, you are my firstborn, my strength, and my very first seed of my virility. Since since he, I mean, I don't know why they're so graphic, but it says, since I had no seminal mission before conceiving you, as such, you should receive all the privileges of being the firstborn. However, because you interfered in my private marital affairs, remember he did with the plant. Anybody remember the name of the plant? Oh, I can't remember offhand. But I'm denying you the privilege of becoming the head of the two tribes. Furthermore, because of your meddlesome behavior, I am likewise depriving you of two additional privileges that should have been yours as firstborn. You should have been foremost in rank in becoming the head of the priestly tribe, and foremost in power by becoming the head of the kingly tribe. So there are two tribes, right? There's the tribe of Levi, which are the priests, and the tribe of Yehuda, which is the tribe of kings. And Reuven was denied both, even though he was the firstborn. But you showed yourself to be impetuous as running water by allowing your indignation to compel you to act impulsively, and this propensity to exhibit anger towards others renders you unfit for both the priesthood and the kingship. So I guess that's a good hint that we shouldn't get so angry at others. Regardless of the people's faults, the priest must always seek to bless them out of his great love for them. That's pretty cool. Likewise, must the king always feel responsible for his subjects' welfare out of self-effacing humility. Therefore, you will not be foremost in either of these areas. The priesthood will eventually be transferred to Levi and the kingship to Yehuda. You exhibited such anger when you moved my bed from Bilhah's tent. It was the jasmine, right? The jasmine plant. You grow any jasmine, Tara? It was jasmine. That's I remember. By committing a sin as unconscionable as if you had mounted your father's bed. Now, I don't really get why Jacob's upset about this, because I think he had children from this. But in doing so, you were not only implying that I acted improperly, but you were implying that God has misplaced his trust in me. Wow, that's really harsh, mandrake, right? Thus, you then profane the name of God, whose presence resided over my bed. I know you've repented and confessed for this misdeed, but nevertheless, Yehuda has exhibited behavior that shows him to be better suited for the kingship. Okay, man. It's pretty harsh. I don't know. Oh. What are you saying, Deborah? Is it harsh? Does it seem harsh? Or it's just he just realizes, I mean, it's just like it's kind of like where the rubber hits the road. It's real deal stuff. You can't have Reuven's like impetuousness, I guess that's the word, getting in the way of things. Jasmine, mandrake, yeah. Okay, so Shimon and Levi. Now he goes to Shimon and Levi. Now Shimon and Levi, remember, they were the ones who totally destroyed the town of Shechem and the people of Shechem. Oh, the plant. Yeah. I mean, jasmine's that powerful, really? It's purple, yeah. Listen to this. Here's another thing from the Rebbe about Jacob's decision not to tell them the end of time. Alternatively, Jacob knew that had the Jewish people merited, God would have led them directly into the land of Israel after the exodus from Egypt without having to go through the desert. I think this is really what we're going to end up talking about. According to the Zohar, such a redemption would have been unconditional and eternal, like God himself. No exile would have followed it, and their entry into the land of Israel would have been the beginning of the Messianic era, the end of days. On a deeper level, then, it was the scenario of the end of days that Jacob wished to reveal, thereby inspiring his children to behave righteously so they would expedite the redemption. perhaps causing it to occur in their own lifetimes. As for the fact that this knowledge would adversely affect the quality of their efforts, as above, to turn adversely affecting the quality of the redemption, Jacob perceived his sons to be on the same spiritual level as he was, having already completed their divine mission. So the issue of summoning their latent powers was irrelevant. But I think this is very interesting. In other words, they could have had complete redemption after leaving Egypt, but we've been wandering around for like 3,000 years. We're not completely redeemed yet, and you might say, what is God doing? But if you look at the bigger picture, it seems that God wants us to kind of fix ourselves and go through this interesting time so that we can work on ourselves. Yeah. Okay. So, was a Jacob, like all the patriarchs and matriarchs, was a vehicle for God's will. His thoughts and desires always reflected God's. Thus, even though God did not allow him to reveal when the redemption would occur, his desire to do so reflected a similar desire on God's part. Even though God does not reveal to us when Mashiach will come, on some level he deeply wants to. In fact, he did. By seeking to reveal the date of redemption to us, Jacob instilled within us the ability to live to a certain extent with an aura of redemptive reality, free from the constraints of exile, from servitude to foreign masters, and from our own inner baseness. Although we live temporarily in exile, we can and should be focused on and be mentally and emotionally rooted in the redemption. So we're supposed to like kind of like fake it till we make it. That's probably the best way to put it. Is to like to live in a kind of as if we're already there. And that kind of like parallels my thing from this morning about not being in the fear space, because if you're afraid, it means you're not really totally trusting godliness. Not that that's a bad thing, not like you're a bad person, but it could be part of your journey to not trust and have to go through the fear space in order to find a way around it. But I was allowing myself to notice like a little bit of fear last night, and then this morning I just had a small miracle, and I looked at my bank account, and I thought there was going to be nothing there, but there was something there. It was more than I thought, and I was just like, I was so worried because the mortgage is due on the 16th, but there was money there. I mean, I was like, really, where did this come from? Okay, so that's, you just never know. And I mean, the Rebbe always said, Tracht good wird sein good, think good, and it is good. It will be good. And, I think this is critical. If we're thinking scary thoughts, we're going to like be vessels for receive scary thoughts. So, that's a big thing, I think. Yeah. So anyway, so he didn't install Ruvain, even though he was the firstborn. He didn't get the big brachas. He said to Levi and Shimon, man, Levi and Shimon were dangerous dudes. He was like, you guys, you decimated the town of Shechem when Dinah got abducted, and you're dangerous. You get angry, and that's also not so good. So it's you can't be, I guess the word impetuous, I'm not even sure what that means, but like Ruvain was maybe impetuous. Maybe that means like he just fell victim to his own thinking, and then And then Levi and Shimon were dangerous dudes. So they couldn't be given like high brachas, but they he said okay, so anyway, so he rebuked his three older brothers. So these were the first three born, and then it came time for Yehuda. Right. They want us freaking out. Absolutely. They want us in the fear space. That's why, I mean, that's why the sky, that's why the banking system is created this way, why the medical thing that's going on. OMG, man, that is like off the charts with fear-based craziness. So, yeah. So now it comes time for Yehuda, for Judah, for Yehuda. I have a very good friend named Yehuda, and he also, in his English, he uses the English name Judah. So I shouldn't be so hesitant to use that word, although it always makes me think of the other that other religion. Not that that's a bad thing for for non-Jews, but okay. So Yehuda heard all this going on, and he was like kind of scared, and it says, "Don't worry, Yehuda. You are not deserving of such a rebuke. On the contrary, your brothers will praise you. Your descendants' hand will be figuratively holding onto the neck of your fleeing enemies. He will vanquish them." This prophecy was fulfilled in King David, when his enemies fled from him. They ran away. You are the firstborn of the royal line, so the descendants of your father's sons, of all your brothers, will bow down to the kings who are destined to come from you. See you, Tara. Have a great day. Okay, so right. Okay, so Patty sent a cool thing about the plant, but Yehuda's going to be the king, right? And it's funny because you would think that Yehuda, with the thing with Tamar, and the problems with his own sons, that he would have been kind of dissed by Jacob, but it seems it's just the opposite. So I don't think we can say that if we go through tough times that really means anything, that it's negative necessarily. Okay, now I can breathe a little easier. Okay, so yeah, so Yehuda. So anyway, Yehuda's going to be the king, and just like David had also. Although Yehuda's descendants will begin the royal career as a young cub, subordinate to another king, upon assuming the throne, he will fight like a lion. This prophecy was fulfilled in King David, who began his royal career as a subordinate to King Shaul, who was a descendant of Binyamin. I am conferring upon you the honor of the royal line as a reward for your exemplary behavior in two incidents. Now, this is interesting. First, when I suspected you of having killed Joseph, I later found out that, in fact, you raised yourself, my son, above treating him like prey by refusing to participate in your brother's plot against him, and you saved his life. So he was rewarding him for saving Joseph's life. Secondly, you raised yourself by letting by so he's praising him about the incident with Tamar. Interesting. So in both these things, you could say, I mean, if you were like a hardcore Gevuridic person, if you were a judgmental person, you could say, Yehuda, man, you didn't really save Joseph. You just saved him from the brothers. You sold him to the caravan. It wasn't like 100% on. And so say with Tamar, I mean, you sinned with Tamar, but you didn't let her get killed. You didn't. People wanted to kill her because she was pregnant. They didn't know who the father was, and you saved her. So it's so interesting, and this is why I always find the teachings in the Torah so amazing. It's they don't expect. It doesn't seem like they expect perfection, and that's just something that's completely out of our reach. It's not for us. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, and I think it's just so beautiful that on the other hand, Jacob did say to Levi and Shimon and Ruvain, you're not getting the big bracha. So, but their mistake maybe was more. Maybe it's more like reaching into the character. Oh, good, Tara. Yeah, good. Okay. Catch the bus. Okay. Oh, good, Tara. I'm glad you're still here. I really I just feel like you're such a solid part of the community. I mean, I can't explain it, but maybe knowing that you're on a farm and Patricia also. I mean, you guys look, there are two people here, and I'm just like, we used to have like 100, but it's like, we will have in 2 weeks probably again, but it's just, thank you. I really have to thank you, because I would not be reading this now. I would be doing something else. I would probably be looking into the Dumbs channel to see what's going on underground. And there's a lot. I saw, by the way, check out my Telegram channel, the one with 300 subscribers, because I have a lot of cool stuff. And also, I'm rediscovering Instagram. You can leave like voice messages, which is kind of like nice, because I can hear people's voices, because the voice is so close to your soul. It's really great to hear someone's voice, because the voice tells you so much about a person, I think. But anyway, so okay, so even as further reward. Okay, let me read this whole thing. Okay, so I'm conferring upon you the honor of the royal line. Forgive me if you have this book. I really apologize that I'm reading it to you, but this is sort of news to me, because I'm not. It's hard for me to sit down and learn. I'm conferring upon you the honor of the royal line as a reward for your exemplary behavior in the two incidents. And he says which two, about Tamar and about saving Joseph. Although it is true the older brother Ruvain also tried to save Joseph, he nevertheless did not save his life as you did. He merely kept the brothers from killing him with their own hands. And although it is similarly true that he also repented for his sins, his repentance did not save anyone's life as yours did. Now, this is a really cool teaching. This is saying that it's one thing to be a super nice guy and say some nice things. It's another thing, and I'm sure Tara and Patricia can relate to this, being more from the country. But it's another thing to actually do something, like my wife, she'll say do the wash the dishes, and I'll say okay, I'll get to it. That's like one level. But then if I actually do it, like this morning, I finally did it. That's a much higher level. And that's what Jacob is saying to Yehuda. It's like, you actually saved his life. You actually saved Tamar's life. And that's very high level. Interesting, Tara. Oh, you're on the outskirts. Yeah, but it's kind of like, compared to my lifestyle, it's like being on the farm. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs, so I know to be outside the city. I'm momish. I'm literally in the city, but I still have a little bit of land. I mean, it's not even whatever. I mean, I love it. Listen, what I have is I grow dahlias for Shabbos, and I grow my little tomatoes, my asparagus, and my horseradish, and my mint, and peppers. Hearing is more powerful than seeing. Yeah, right. Action and understanding. That's a very big Hasidic concept. I think I talked about it in another video, but hearing implies understanding, whereas seeing is just kind of like a gift. It doesn't really have to penetrate you. You just see it. see wavelengths, right? And that's why, like, there's a difference between, like, that's why, like, the way we relate to each other, I would still say is very deep. Why? Because we're not seeing each other. We don't. I don't know what you guys look like. I mean, if I saw what you look like, would I talk to you differently? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm a human being, but we can connect on like more of a soul level because we're connecting idea to idea, which is panemius, which is, you know, like chokmah. It's like the thought. Yeah. So anyway, so thus in both you prove to be more worthy of kingship than he, because the role of a king, and this is really deep, and this is a Jewish. Oh, we're on 5 acres, so that's huge compared to what I have. That's huge. That's called a farm, but in my eyes, I mean, you know, if I had 5 acres, man, I would just be, you know, I'm not saying I would want 5 acres at this point in my life, but I would be very busy on a busy road. Yeah, that doesn't matter. I'm also on a very busy road. I mean, there are people walking out on my sidewalk day and night every time of the year. It could be the middle of February at 2 in the morning when I'd wake up. There are people out there having conversations. It's a whole different lifestyle. But okay, so as a further reward for your concern for your fellows. Oh, so here's the essential thing, and this is like this is a Jewish concept, but this goes into this. You can really see this playing out in the politics of the day. That a king has nothing of his own. A real king, a real Jewish king, does not. He doesn't care for himself. He is all about his people, his peeps. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't. You know, it says if he has too many horses, if he has too many wives, you know, it's not good. He should be walking around with the Torah all day and helping his servants, and really, that's the difference between what we have now masquerading as kings, the politicians that we have to deal with. Yeah, Tara, these are really beautiful, deep thoughts, and this is really like Chassidus. 5 acres, man, unbelievable. Anyway, so as further reward for your concern over your fellows. Okay, so he said, so Yehuda has this thing where he is a king. He's not concerned with his own mishigas, with his own stuff. He's really there for everybody else, and that's really what King David was about. He was able to vanquish his Yetzer Hara through fasting. In those days, they could fast. He was much stronger than we are now. We're not supposed to fast, but anyway, so as further reward for your concern for your fellow during the reign of one of your descendants, our people will figuratively crouch and lie down like a lion, dwelling securely and in peace, and like a fearsome lion that no one would dare rouse. This prophecy was fulfilled during the entire reign of King Solomon, which was undisturbed by wars. That was his son, Shlomo, who inherited, like David did all the hard work. He fought all the wars, and then Shlomo got to really like reign like a king. He got to be the king. So even when the Jewish people no longer have an independent kingdom, the scepter of regency will not depart from Yehuda. This prophecy was fulfilled during the Babylonian exile when the descendants of King David continued to serve as the acknowledged rulers of the Jewish people. Nor will lawgivers, scholars, and who render rulings in Jewish laws cease from among his descendants. This prophecy was fulfilled in the presidents of the Sanhedrin, which was the court in the old days, the Jewish court, the Sanhedrin, who were also descended from King David. Yehuda's preeminence will continue until the coming of Shiloh, one of the names for the Mashiach, who will be a descendant of Yehuda, before whom nations will assemble to hear his teachings. So I don't really know what that means from Shiloh. I mean, Shiloh was one of the places where they rested, where the Mishkan, where the tabernacle rested in the desert. Upon the coming of Shiloh, which is one of the names of Messiah. Shiloh also alludes to the person who began the process of redemption that the Messiah will complete, and that's Moses. The numerical value of Shiloh is the same as the name of Moses. Okay, that's pretty interesting, right? Yeah, that's gematria. I wish Devorah had stayed for that. She likes gematria. By leading us from Egypt and then to receive the Torah at Mount Sinai, Moses gave us the potential to bring about the ultimate redemption, the coming of Shiloh, the actualization of what Shiloh Moses began. The numerical value for the words the coming of Shiloh, 358, is the same as the word for Mashiach. So the coming of Shiloh is the same as Mashiach, as the same as Messiah. That's pretty cool. Yehuda is like a young cub, and the temple was therefore situated. Okay. Anyways, a lot of detail here that's really cool. If you have this book, right, zigzag, yeah, yeah. The king is. I mean, I can't even like think about what that would mean to be king of a people's. I mean, but it would mean that you wouldn't really have time for you wouldn't really have any time for yourself. And an interesting story, because the Rebbe was for sure the king of the Jewish people while he was here. And I heard a story from my shliach, the rabbi that met me in Nashville when I became religious, Rabbi Posner. And he said, and Rabbi Posner was like an old time Lubavitcher. He was there before it became like a big movement. And he saw the Rebbe one time, and the Rebbe said to him, "Oh, it's just you." In other words, for that one instant, the Rebbe didn't have to be king. He could just relate to Zalman Posner one on one, and they could just hang out. So that's a very interesting thing that I'm sure nobody else really knows. I mean, this was told to me personally from Zalman Posner. So you guys are like probably the only ones who know this. But the Rebbe totally gave himself to the people. I mean, they said he was either waking up or going to sleep at 4 o'clock. In other words, he basically never slept. He lived on pieces of dark chocolate, and he wasn't like he went golfing very often. He never went golfing. He basically never left his post. He was there, and he cried when he accepted the Nasius, the kingship. The Rebbe cried. I mean, because you can imagine. I mean, it's Rabbi Zelenko. I call him Rabbi Zelenko, but Dr. Zelenko. Thanks, Carla Joe. So glad that you stopped by. Zev Zelenko put out a video recently, and Zev Zelenko, not out of hand. Yeah, not hard to get civilization. Yeah, 3 acres, 5 acres, that's pretty manageable. I don't know what Carla Joe is dealing with, but even my little property, man, I'm grateful that I don't have a bigger property at this point in my life, because I really want to spend my time, helping kind of try to spread things around a bit. But anyway, Zev Zelenko said, yeah, they don't really get to enjoy so much play. It must be a different kind of pleasure. But Zev Zelenko put out a video recently, and I don't know if you probably know about Zev Zelenko. He's the one who's screaming about, what, I don't want to mention it, but this thing. He put out a video recently, and he said, "This is a hill that's worth dying on." And this is the concept of Nesiris Nefesh. Nesiris Nefesh means that you're willing to give your life up for a cause. You're willing to give your life, your physical life up for something bigger than yourself. And Zev Zelenko, who is fighting cancer, is really giving his life for this cause. And it's an uphill battle because like people in my community, the rabbis, the doctors here, they're not necessarily on the right page. So yeah, so that's Rebbe was different from the royals that we know today, but the royals like Moses was also a king who never really, and that's why I remember how Miriam criticized Moses for not being with his wife. She said, that's a really terrible thing, and God punished her for it because Moses was not with his wife because he knew that in order to prophesize, he had to like stay by himself. I'm so glad you guys are friends. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think as our technology improves, we'll be able to like see each other and talk to each other. I can't believe that, as we come to new platforms, we're going to come into Truth Social soon, and they're going to be using Rumble, from what I understand. So I think the technologies, they have to up the technology. I mean, they're always coming up with new things, and Rumble right now is miserable for live feeds, but I'm sure they're going to have to upgrade. Melissa, that's totally cool, man. You don't have to be on any level. You don't have to, we're not fakers here, man. I mean, I do not pretend to be something I'm not. I am not super religious. You know, whatever. I don't sit and learn, in all my spare time. My friends, I have time on my hands because I got kicked out of my job. My friends are, you're not sitting and learning all day? No, I'm not. So, Melissa, I can't judge you. I mean, I don't, first of all, I don't have the mental capacity I'm not smart enough to judge somebody else, except, I have, when in a close family situation, that's when the rubber really hits the road, and that's real graduate school. So, it's very easy to be like magnanimous to strangers. The real challenge is to have that same kind of love and beneficence in your close family relationships. Hey, Larry, you found us. Wow. Small start is a start. Thanks, Zigzag, man. Yeah, we're definitely on it, man. We got 6 people. That's cool. I'm doing this every day, so except for Shabbos. So, if you need a Torah fix, man, stop by, man. Come say hello. I was going to visit my mother in Pennsylvania, but I'm not going to go. I just can't. I'm too freaked out right now, and I'm feeling like Tara's saying. I just feel the energy is just like ramped up, and I'm just like, I need like yesterday. I wasn't able to get into my tree hugging phase. I didn't get to go to the park, but I went to the protest. There was a protest, and I said some things about it on my video this morning. But we will do a live show on this channel tonight, and we can share more. It won't be so focused on Torah and Tanya. Oh, the royals in Europe. Yeah, they were really bad. They were like reptilians, literally. They're hybrids. Yeah, I feel ringing. There's ringing in my ears when I focus on it, Melissa. Thanks. Yeah, the gematria. I love gematria too. Yeah, Melissa, man, you don't have to be religious. I mean, really. And that was the beauty of the Rebbe. The Rebbe, like all the other Hasidim, all the other Hasidic Rebbes, were like, how can you put tefillin on somebody who hasn't been to the mikveh? I don't know if you guys know what I just said. I think Tara probably does. Like in other words, Jewish men go to a mikveh every morning and they purify themselves by immersing in a bath, like, at synagogue, not at home. And then we put on tefillin, which are these straps with the boxes. But the Rebbe said, go out and find any Jewish man, whether he's religious or not, and put this Put this on them. Teach them how to say a bracha. Yeah, I mean, Larry's also doing like the deed for humanity. He works for the people. Yeah, I think something's going on. I mean, the fact that they're like ramping up the things in the air above the houses. Yeah, that makes sense totally, Melissa. Listen, I hung out with Buddhists, and I took I was in sweat lodges with, you know, um, I searched all over. I mean, this just works for me. It doesn't have to work for anybody else. But we come here and we support each other, and we know we're going through a tremendous awakening, and this is just a place to just chill. Yeah. Small start is a start. Yeah. So this is, it's really not a small start. I mean, 5 folks is a lot. I mean, there are a lot of rabbis in my community that would be very happy if they had 5 people sitting at the table when they learned something. So, I know my rabbi, who was a genius and had written many books, and he had, sometimes he spoke to thousands of people in on Shabbos. He was lucky if there were like 3 guys, and 2 of those guys would fall asleep during the shiur. So I was the only one awake. Okay, so I'm going to keep this pretty much to schedule. So we have like 5 minutes. Maybe I can touch on the Yom Yom while we're at it. Just let me get that. I remember it was pretty cool. Okay, so here, this is good. This is good. Yeah. And this goes, I use this to think about the trails in the sky, that these people are spraying stuff in the atmosphere. Think about that as you're listening to the Rebbe's words. A person's life depends upon the air around him. Without air, one cannot live. Moreover, the kind of air in which one lives determines the quality of one's life. When a person lives in an atmosphere of Torah and mitzvos, his life is healthy. When he lives in an atmosphere that denies God, his life is sickly and he is under constant risk of contagion. The first comprehensive remedy is to purify the air, and this is the responsibility of those who are educated in Torah studies. This is not for us. I mean, it should be for me if I was on a higher level, but whatever. When a person verbalizes the words of Torah while standing in the store, walking down the street, or riding the subway, he purifies the air. Whoever is familiar with Torah learnings must have something on call that he has learned by heart, be it Chumash, Tehillim, Mishnayos, or Tanya. This will enable him to review the holy words of Torah mentally and verbally at any time and any place. So this is kind of like, if you could bring around a little Torah with you, you can purify the air of the chemicals. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I just have like it's not an all day thing for me, but I have it in the morning after my cup of coffee and after I read Tanya. I can see the positivity in things, and I don't even know how I make videos every day. I have no idea how that happens, and because a lot, there have been many days where I'm just like I'm getting ready to make my tape, and I'm saying like, I don't know what to do. It's not even like I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to do, but somehow something happens and it comes out okay. Yeah, thanks, Larry. Yeah, you know what I think? Wow, Carlo Joe, that's serious, man. Real fasting. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I mean, we all find our like our ways. And Like, I'm really, I mean, the fact that I don't have a job now, I'm so happy. I mean, to do a job where you're really not doing anything, like I think I'm sure Larry can relate to this a lot of the times, but it's like it's not really so fulfilling if you're doing something and you're not really allowed to do it the way you really want to do it or you really think it should be done. I cheated yesterday. Where's Melissa? You should know. Yesterday was a fast day for the Jewish people. I totally forgot. I was out at a protest and I got hungry and I love potato chips. I went into a Fairway and I got the kind of potato chips that I really like, which are unsalted. I like the real deal potato chips. And I ate them and I forgot that I was fasting yesterday. I was really embarrassed. And then I came home and I drank water, which we don't do. But it's like, my son looked at me, says, "Look, Tati, you, you forgot it's not the worst thing in the world." Yeah, it is fun. I know. I just like I no, but there's a certain kind of potato chip that's unsalted. I can only get it like at Fairway. I mean, you probably can't relate to this because you only have what you have. Even though you can get a lot of things out in the world that you couldn't used to get, but in New York City you can get, pretty much anything you can think of. Not that I ever do because I usually don't have money, but oh yeah, but I can say this now. Like I am tapped out money wise. I looked at and my mortgage is due tomorrow. I looked at my bank account. Social Security just gave me a huge check. I'm fine. Somebody owes me money. I mean, everything is like fine. I'm just like, and I think I said on this morning's video, I don't have a job and all this nonsense, but this was like Joseph was punished because he told the guy, "Tell Pharaoh, I know how to interpret dreams." God doesn't, God wants us to let God do it, I think. Yeah, sometimes you mess up, man. I mean, listen, we're not perfect. I mean, I'm trying, like, there's some other things that I'm really like working on that, it's like sometimes it's like I can't I can't go there. I'm gonna completely fall apart. I'm gonna yell at everybody I see all day long, and I have to take care of this. I mean, it's not God doesn't give us anything we can't handle, but whatever. Another trip. Okay, go for it, Larry, man. God bless you, man. Um, but yeah, Melissa, this has been going on for decades for me. I mean, this has been going on since I went to AA about 30 years ago. And after being there for a couple of weeks, and I was in debt $50,000 at the time, I remember it well. And my sponsor said, "Don't worry. Now that you believe in God, everything's going to be taken care of." And my debt just melted away in a matter of weeks. That This was back in the day. So ever since then, like whenever I get worried about money, I'm saying, Nudnik, you really? Why? Why you've been saved so many times? Now you're going to worry? Yeah. Yeah, it takes care of us. All right, so I'm gonna be religious about signing out because it's 12 o'clock, but I'm gonna be here every day on this channel for the next 2 weeks, and we're gonna do a live meeting 7:45 tonight. I can't thank you guys enough for showing up. I know there weren't huge amounts of people there, but you know what I want to tell you, Melissa. I just want to tell you the icing on the cake. This is not just that I got money like the day before my mortgage is due. It's that there's a little tiny bit of extra money, and the crypto market is tanking now. You know how hard it is for me not to, like, I just want to put 25 cents in when they go down like this. That's when you have, I believe, I'm not a financial advisor, but today, right now is a very good time if you're ever thinking about buying cryptos, man. This is when you buy it, when it's way, way, way down. So yeah, if you can get Uphold where you live, Uphold is a platform that I can't get in New York. But Uphold, you could still buy XRP, which is and XLM, Stellar and Ripple. Anyway, much love to you guys. We'll see you tonight. Thank you so much for being you, and keep up the good work. And Melissa, God bless, man. You don't have to. You don't. Do what wherever you're holding is where you're holding. I once met one of the Eagles, the band, the Eagles. I went backstage. I used to be a musician of sorts, and I went backstage and I talked to, I forget the name of the guy, but he was like, he's one of the original Eagles. And I said, I'm just like, I'm a banjo player, I'm a guitar player, I play with some little gigs. I'm not like, and the guy turned to me, says, hey man, you are where you are. It's okay. It's so, yeah. Yeah, silver. I think silver right now, and those two cryptos, Ripple and Stellar Lumens, and they're really down. They're really discounted now. I mean, they're almost, Solana. Solana is also probably a pretty safe bet. Again, I don't want to say things and have you guys get burned. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm doing a Jewish goodbye. So please, I'm sorry, but I'll see you guys tonight, and I love you. Thanks for coming by and keeping me somewhat sane. All right. Much love. God bless.